Well, hello everyone. Welcome. I see we've got Sharon and Carrie here, and I know people aren't used to the 6 o'clock time yet. Oh, and our awesome moderator Attila has joined us. I know Air Fry Auntie won't make it this evening because she is at one of her crafting retreats. But so we'll give everybody a couple minutes to get the notifications and get started. Uh, but Carrie, since you're here, I'm just going to let you know that I know I said, get down. She's still very full of effort to get on the counter. But anyway, so at least you had a little cat sighting. Yeah, so I know I promised a decaf, but I got a Kickstarter system in and decided to share that. But no worries, next weekend I will still be having my live stream out of my hotel room in Indianapolis. And I already put aside a non-caffeinated beverage. I'll be taking my water kettle with me, and I have already set aside with all of my things my portable tea set. So we'll definitely have it next time. Hey, the warden. Oh, and a reminder for everybody to hit the thumbs up. So good to see you guys. Hey, warden, what are you guys having for dinner? So I'm making these cauliflower rice bowls. It's a fried cauliflower. Hey, Hungry Heath. But it's mostly already prepared, so it's just going to be putting some stuff together. I put what I was using today in the description. I've got myself some marinated and then oven baked pork tenderloin and chicken breast. So I went ahead and got both of those. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. So anyways, I lost track. Oh, what's giving you an error, Carrie? Oh, I don't know. Anyways, I missed something. So let's see. Oh, Hungry He says they're having a smoked rack of ribs and some queso. Nice. So, but I went with even though I don't want people to think that this is supposed to taste like a fried rice from the Chinese restaurant, because that's not it. But this is a good one skillet kind of dish. Although I did, like I said, I prepared ahead of time, so I have my marinated, and that's because you want those meats to really absorb the marinade, and they do get like that because I used apple cider vinegar, coconut aminos, some sriracha, some chili flakes, and some sesame seeds, garlic, onion, and that really does give it a little bit of a tang. Not in a bad way, but it is definitely tangy from that fermented sriracha and all of that fun stuff in there. And that kind of adds a lot of flavor and uplifts the dish. And then we tone it back a little bit with the rest of our ingredients, of which I've got a quarter of a white onion that I sauteed down in a little bit of leftover bacon grease. I did remove a portion of the bacon grease and left just enough. And then I have like these lovely crunchy bacon pieces to mix in and add a little crunchy texture. Oh, Harry says he's having Rubios. Look at this, the boldness of this cat. Just keep on going. She's a spitfire. So let me turn the heat back on. And while stuff is kind of cooking, or well, reheating, we can then talk about this fun stuff over here. So we've got our onions. Then I have my pre-cooked and chilled rice cauliflower. I didn't do anything to it. Hi, Rickwin. Hey, oh, no worries. Yeah, we went 6:30 for a long time. I was just getting way too hungry, and I was like, we just bumped it up. It seemed to be, it's better for me, and I know that eventually we'll get used to the time slot. Oh, Hungry says they also have a big batch of tallow in the Dutch oven on the Traeger, and that will be used this week's Friday night feast. Thanks to his hero, Sharon Holloway. Oh, I'm so excited for that. Oh, yeah, we're going to have some deep fried goods. So, my cauliflower rice. I have scrambled eggs. I scrambled 6 eggs, but I ate some of them this morning with breakfast. And so it's probably about 4.5-ish eggs. I just like it. Then I have some pasted up some pasted up ginger, and then some finely minced garlic. About 4, maybe 5 cloves of garlic. I forget. I took snow peas and cut them into little teeny pieces. Yes, snow peas are a keto-friendly vegetable. An entire cup of it only has 4 carbs, so it's entirely friendly. And then I have some bamboo shoots and green onions and some more coconut aminos to mix in with the cauliflower rice, which is just plain old cauliflower. So let's go ahead. These are nice and toasty and lovely. Like I said, that was a white onion that I have cooked up in here, and that's why it's beige now, because it was fried up in the cauliflower, in the bacon grease. So let's add these aromatics and just give that a little saute. So, like I said, because these little pieces of marinated meat just go right in the oven and bake, they do give off some liquid, but you just discard that because that's the marinade, and you already have enough built into the meat. You don't want to save off the stuff that has squeezed out of the meat. All right, so we've got this nicely going. The next thing we're going to add in is the cauliflower rice. Hey, Miriam, nice to see you. So, and once again, I'll be testing the capacity of this skillet. I don't know if they make a bigger one. I've been thinking of switching from the skillet, although I like the sides on it, and investing in one of the Blackstone e-griddles, the indoor electric ones, because they might, well, when they first came out, they were more expensive and also scarce. But now they've come down in price and they're more readily available and probably easier to get at the end of the summer. So I'll keep an eye out on that, but I'm going to do a lot of that. Let's see. Lots of little combinations back and forth. Carrie says there was a knighted cow. His name was Sirloin. Oh my goodness. That was a good one. All right, so now you've got your onion, garlic, your aromatics flavoring up this cauliflower rice and making it nice. And we just want to let this toast up a little bit. Unlike regular rice, cauliflower rice is not going to get crispy. So that is the main reason that you take out most of that bacon grease, because we're already going to be adding coconut aminos in. You don't want to add so much that you make it mush. You want it to retain some of the separation of the little cauli minces. It's inevitable that we'll get a little bit of softness to it, but you don't want to make a mash by accident. So the next thing, let's throw this meat in there so it can start heating up. I got too close to the edge of the pan and I felt it touch my pinky. I was like, oh no, it's going to burn me. So got it just in the nick of time. Saved myself. All right. It'll take the longest for the meat to reheat. I throw some stuff over the edge, of course. Typical. Love to make extra work for myself. Yeah, and that fragrance from the ginger and stuff is coming through, and as it'll warm up the meat, it'll help, it'll work together because the sweetness and the savoriness of that ginger will tone down the acidity from the marinade and the vinegar that was in it. I mean, you guys, you've marinated meat before, and you know when you marinate it a lot, it gets it brings in the acid into the meat, which helps keep it moist, as well as infusing a lot of flavor to it. And let's be honest, chicken breast doesn't have a lot of flavor without some help. So if you're wondering why I chose those meats, because they were on sale, discounted. So cheap, cheap, cheap. Otherwise, I would normally like to have, a chicken thigh. But in this case, chicken breast was on sale for, you guys are not going to believe this, 79 cents a pound. So, however, it was limited one pack. So I bought my one pack. And because it was a BJ special, it was also limited one per household. So it's not like I couldn't go and get like more, like by multiple trips, because they can catch it off your card and tell you, oh, sorry, there was a limit on that. But for that price, can't go wrong, because I used half the package and then I froze the other 3 chicken breasts for something else. All right. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the scrambled egg and mix that in. Julie says she's been wanting to try caulifried rice. It's looking amazing. Yeah, and you can really do these fried caulirices any way you want. If you wanted to do like shrimp and scallops, you could give them a slightly different marinade. You could do a more sesame leaning marinade and grill it up. Before we knew that the shellfish was what was impacting me allergy wise, one time I did one that was like, I did those great big prawns and a couple lobster tails out on the Blackstone, and it was phenomenal. So you could also, if you wanted to use another meat, and you could take a Korean way and use a hot and spicy chili sauce with your aminos, and throw in kimchi instead of your snow peas and bean sprouts. So it's really, really just very, very flexible. I'm hungry, so I'm slobbering. Ridiculous. So I'm let me just stick my finger in here. Yeah, it's almost there. Get this one. Bite my fingers. I know. That's everything you should not do. Don't put your dirty fingers. My hands, I just washed them like right before we went live. Don't put your fingers in the food. But I did anyways. It's home, and I'm probably the one who's going to eat a majority of this throughout the week. Other people may have some, but there's also a request that I maybe pick up the stuff and make a meat lasagna for everybody to eat while I'm out of town. So I'm just tossing these snow peas. You don't need the snow peas to cook a lot. You want them to retain that crispy freshness. So they just really need mixed in and tossed lightly. And the next thing we're going to do is add some more of the coconut aminos. And I want you to be aware that you don't want to eat a big old honking bowl of this, because it does have the cauliflower rice, the onion, a little bit of snow pea, but it's spread out over several servings. Like this should easily be like 8 or 9 servings. I mean, all that meat is going to fill you up. It's heavy protein. So really good fats from the bacon grease. So, yeah. So be mindful, because you're going to ingest like 10 to 12 carbs. So, but also 10 to 12 carbs is not really that much for an entire meal, especially if you can, swap out your other meals and keep it very reasonable for under your 20 carbs for the day, 30 if you do total carbs and you're a little further along in your journey. Hey, Just Jason Keto. It's good to see you. Yeah, so this is just about there. And I can't wait to bring this up close so you can see how nice it looks. I I'm willing to take the risk on bean sprouts. I love the texture it adds. And that's the thing too that's about all of this. Layering in that texture gives a lot of variety to your meal. And again, you don't have to cook them to death. Now, I will say that with bean sprouts, you want to pay attention to where they come from. There's been some questions about bean sprouts from their sustainability and from, I don't know, like they've had some bacterial issues, just like lettuce. So you want to make sure that you get, it'll usually say it on the package that it's from a farm in the U.S., a regulated farm growing for bean sprouts, and they're not like wild picked. So, and that's what you want, is the clean substrate. Now the important part, let's do our crunchy bacon bits. This one looks terrible. Don't say nothing. I don't want to be on one of those TikToks where they're shaming people for touching the food with their hands while they complain about the recipe. Because I recognize that this has a lot of stuff in it and it's kind of crazy, but I promise you that it's not like some weird stuff. You notice we didn't use like a canned ingredients. Everything is really nice. So like we weren't taking like cans of pre-made soup and enchilada sauce and mixing it in a crock pot. So we're good. All right. I have some green onions and I'm just going to toss those right in. One last little mix. And before I serve myself, I'm just going to let this sit for a little bit. I'm going to turn the skillet off because everything is warm. And you can cut your meat up however you like, a little smaller, leave it chunkier, save it and have it in big slices after. It's very flexible. If those 10 to 12 carbs are okay for you, and then you could, and you can spare it, you could make some keto yum yum sauce and have a little bit of that on top, and it would be great. All right. So this is sitting here, and it's just going to rest for a few minutes. It'll be plenty warm before I put it in my little bowl. My favorite, Manaki Nico's, Lucky Cats. So let's see. Carrie says I need to stop peeing the live stream with those snow peas. Okay. Yeah, that one's a little harder. Let's see. And then Just Jason Keto, lots of hellos back and forth. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Yes, indeed. And another reminder for the thumbs up for the people who have just joined us. Let's see. I had to scroll back a little bit. Oh, yeah, and actually later in the month, Carrie's going to hit his 2 years of no coffee or caffeine. Let's see. Julie's been wanting, we talked about that one. I think there's a comment missing somewhere, but that's all right. You know, I've never been the best at doing these, even in my little live stream. And Julie says she's drooling over there. Yeah, it's, I really love these dishes. They're really simple, but they've got a lot of nutrition packed into them. So I really enjoy that. But let's talk about my beverage because now I'm thirsty. I do have some water here because what I have here is the brand new to market shell brew, cold brew system. So because it's cold brew and I wanted to share it with you, you're making a concentrate. And so this is, and you know, it's a very simple thing. It's just like every other one, except for it's the niceties that come with it. So I had to start this. It takes 3.5 ounces of coarse grind coffee, and it goes into a micron filter, and then you add your water on top of it. So what's going to make this different after I get the coffee out of it, and we'll show you in just a second. I have a paper plate here and a paper towel so that I can dump the coffee grounds out And then I'll show you why, because we'll wash the micron filter. But there's lots of things around this. So far, one of the things I can say, I mean, you can see it's like practically black. It's concentrated. You wouldn't be drinking that straight. The other thing I'll tell you is it smells really nice. It's Death Wish coffee. It's their blueberry vanilla. All right. I'm satisfied. So I just wanted to dump this because after the live stream, I can put it right into the compost. And the paper towels can go right in there as well as the plate. And I got myself a little spoon to help get the grounds out of here. Because I'm not going to leave you without seeing how it brews. And that is one of the kind of really cool things about this brewing system. So, as I said, like I said, you're making a concentrate. Look at how much coffee that is. That's a lot of coffee. And I thought that was good for you to see as well. I've set this to the side and give this a wash out here. And then I can show you the filter so you can see how it works a little bit. Sorry, I got distracted just watching it get rinsed off. Sometimes, I don't know. Well, you guys, you know I'm squirrely anyways. So, bet you're wondering a little more. Let's see. Hey, Air Fry Nanny, I didn't expect you. You made it home. How was your weekend? Hey, Lynette. Well, I already made my stir fry, but it's looking so good, and I am ready for it. But I'm introducing the Shell brew system. So this is the micron filter. And then on the bottom, it actually has, you can see that it has the seam and then a secondary filter tacked onto it, soldered. So it prevents the fines from getting into your cold brew, which is one of the issues that you have with a lot of cold brew systems, is that the fines make it through and then you wind up with a lot of grit at the bottom. So the other thing is, though, what happens when we brew our coffee too long and you let the grounds sit there in it? It gets bitter, right? So how do they prevent that with your cold brew? Well, because they give you, it's a 2-jar system. And so what you do after this is we do 2 things. We take this, let me give it a little rinse. I got some coffee on it. Screw this one right onto the new jar and install the filter. And bring this pour over to your concentrate. And since it's concentrated, I've got me some icy water here. And there we go. So now this just goes right back into the fridge. And what we do here is we'll start a new cold brew. And I will show you. So let's do that. Okay, so that was really tasty. And I like the fact that it gets the blueberry from the Death Wish coffee comes forward and is nice and not like all fakey tasting. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Okay, so there's my icy coffee for tonight. And here's the other cool thing that they give you. As you can see, there's ground coffee in here because the Death Wish coffee, which, by the way, is normally way more expensive than I'm willing to pay. We've talked about Death Wish coffee before, and I mentioned that it is tasty coffee, but I didn't find that it was like special or even though they purport themselves to be the strongest coffee in the world, when they say that, it's a little bit misleading. Lots of other coffees are as strong as Death Wish coffee, but the ones that are as strong as Death Wish coffee also are all 100% Robusto coffee beans, which have more caffeine than your Arabica beans. That is all. But their coffee is really nice, and it does taste good, so there's no hate there. But I don't know. I hope that this will carry. I'm going to come closer don't know if you heard that little psh or not, but that's because this is vacuum seal, and that releases the vacuum and keeps the coffee fresher. I'm actually thinking that I'm liking it so much that I might order some, if I can, order them separate, more of these vacuum seal jars. They're really cool. They just recharge by USB-C. And we're going to put a metric ton of this coarse ground coffee right in here. Like you use a lot. And that's all right. And you saw how low in the jar it came. Let me read some comments before I scoop more in. Oh, Carrie says the setup looks good. The way he knew how to make cold brew from putting the grounds directly in the water. He never did that and just bought it at the stores when he was working retail. Yeah, that's what we had to do. And Carrie says he thought the brew was good. He was going to say it was Robusto as well. Yep. So this is the Show Brew cold brew system. I backed it on Kickstarter. Oh my gosh, like maybe a year and a half ago, and it's only just arrived, but it's also hitting retail, Amazon and such. I lost count, you guys. I was going to put like 12 of these. I don't know. We're winging it now. But yeah, so you can see. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to finish that concentrate off tomorrow morning with a couple iced coffees. And once I finish that off, this one will be ready. And then you just rotate and start all over again. So I thought that was like super cool. And let me just show you what's going to happen now. So it's vacuuming, but I don't think you guys can hear it on the camera. Eventually it'll stop, but it has a little green light so you can see that glow. And when it's done vacuum sealing, that light will go out. There you go. It just finished. So it keeps the coffee fresh. Now I'm going to get it out of the way. And we are going to pour water. By the way, there's a little max mark on here too to tell you where to stop pouring water. And you do have to pause because the grounds are really thick. So we'll just take a few moments. But basically this is all we're doing. And you can see it starts right away with the infusion. It's really puny because it's got to go there for a while. And if you're wondering what I'm doing with the paper towel, my Samsung refrigerator pitcher leaks when it pours. And our fridge is no longer in warranty, and they didn't want to replace the pitcher anyways. So eventually I may buy another, or I'm just going to deal with the fact that it leaks. All right, almost there. Now I've just hit that max line. Put my pitcher back so it can refill, because we're going to use more water in a second. I have so much garbage to share with you guys. But yeah, so now I just put the lid on, and boom, it's going to the fridge. Sorry to go off camera like 9 million times tonight, but I'm also going to put my concentrate away as well. All right. So yeah, really delicious. Honestly, the blueberry vanilla Death Wish coffee, I almost feel like if I had a convenient can of coconut milk, a little splash of that in here would be nice. So let me scoop up some Caulirice and some meat chunks and bring it up so you can see. All right, here we are. So there you go. There we go, focused. So what else? Let's see, what do we got here? Now we can go back through and read some more comments. Everybody says they agree that it looks fun, that the brew system looks fun. And I got to say, I'm really pleased with its functionality. You know, oftentimes when I back stuff on Kickstarter, I'm really prepared to be disappointed, especially when it comes to coffee stuff. It's very easy for it to go awry. So, but I take the risk a lot of the times anyways. Let's see. Rickwin says I was at 7. Well, he said 3, 4, 5, and then she said 7. Sorry about that. Having a day. Then and Carrie said I need more scoops of coffee. Yeah, you do use a lot of it. Oh, Carrie, that was a good one. Here's a wordplay. He says there isn't any cheese since I moved it out of the way. The WHEY. It's a cheese joke. So yeah. And Air Fry Nanny says the Shell Brew site shows the system 51% off at 39 through Indiegogo. Yep, yeah, that sounds good. That is good. And Indiegogo is usually the second step after Kickstarter. It's still technically fundraising. Be in mind that you may not get it for quite some time. They're still working out some of those logistics, etc. So it'll be a bit. Mama Bear Lynette says the food looks good. Let's see. And Air Fry 90 says the bean care set 45% off at $49. Yeah, I got the whole kit and caboodle, so I'm gonna take a big bite. So it's gonna be a second to chew. Just like the name, talk amongst yourselves. Mm. Okay, I'm really happy with this. It's good. Mm. Yeah, I hope everybody else in the house hates it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm looking forward to it because I need some simple, easy reheat stuff because I've got so much to get done. For one thing, I gotta get my hair cut. I kind of maybe should have done it this weekend, but today, even though I had time, I really didn't. I did a bunch of other stuff, but I've got big totes loaded into the car. I've broken down the vending machine. I've got the tournament sheets all set up. I've got all my Catan copies ready. I'm going to leave super early Thursday morning and get on the road to Indianapolis. I have once I get there, I'm hoping I can early check in. I did put in a request, and but the thing is early check-in is not a guarantee, even if you are platinum, etc. They do try. And I'm hoping that I can unload my vehicle, and then I'm supposed to notify the organizers of the convention that I've arrived, and we're supposed to, I'm handing off a couple things for tournament swag for them to give out. Also, probably helping them do some setup, but then I have to go and do some shopping so I have some nice meal things there as well. Mostly because I want to buy like some lunch meat and just have like some nice lunch meat and cheese for my afternoon meal. My room it's Marriott, and I'm platinum with them, so my room has the breakfast included. So I will be getting my omelets in the morning. So I really only have to worry about maybe something light midday because I'll be working hard for the tournaments, and then a secondary smaller meal. I certainly plan to take full advantage of my breakfast, which, by the way, free breakfast at hotels is not free. You paid for it with your room. It's included. So never feel like you can't enjoy it because, it's free or you're taking advantage. You paid for that. Mm. What's really good is a little crispiness from the bean sprouts and the green onions and the snow peas. and the occasional crispy piece of bacon give you a lot to think about while you're eating from a taste and eating pleasure point of view. I'm going to move this to the sink. I know it's going to the compost, but I find it very unsightly. There. I don't want to look at it on the screen. I know, weirdo, right? So, but the nice thing is in Thursday night, I did arrange with a couple people, Keto Simple and I had Jackie's Keto Journey and another person who helps organize the Keto Indie meetups. I don't know if she likes her name set out on the streams or not. I didn't ask, but the three of us are going to meet up at Lou Malnati's. So, and Lou Malnati's is a Chicago deep dish pizza establishment. And one of the things that they have been doing for a really long time is they have their crustless pizza, which is actually a sausage crust base. And so I am looking forward for that. Airfry Nanny is asking is if coffee filters go into the compost, after doing their job. That depends on the coffee filters and also the compost company that you are working with. Where I am, I pay for a composting service, and they give us a bucket with a special kind of liner, and we put our compost in there. But on the side, it has all their rules like paper towels, yes, paper plates, no. And they have restrictions like you can't pour like a big can of bacon grease in there because it's bad for the compost in the health of the compost. So the compost company that you're with will give you guidelines. Like we can put natural paper napkin in there and the paper towel, but coffee filters, if they are the natural paper coffee filters, non-bleached, we can put those in there. So really only my V60 and the ChemX have the paper filters, and I do buy the natural paper ones so that they can be composted or recycled. So yeah. Oh, Julie's making a sausage crust pizza for dinner. That sounds so good. I'm really excited for it. When I used to go to Chicago, I used to eat there. Now, to be fair, I did like their sausage crust pizza, but at the time when I wasn't keto, I will say in Chicago, Lou Malnati's is absolutely delicious, but it is second to Geno's. But Geno's doesn't have sausage crust, and Geno's doesn't exist outside of Chicago. So I am super hoping they've got some big boots to fill. I hope that quality carried over from Chicago into Indiana. So, because I will say that as far as regular Chicago deep dish, a different chain did put one here in Ohio, and we ate once there, and we never actually went back. And all I can say is the absolute disappointment because it was not the same. They said they were the same, but it was definitely not. Oh, and Julie said when I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, she couldn't stop thinking about it. Yeah, sausage crust pizza is amazing. It's really, really good. I need another bite. I've actually been wanting, I know I want sausage crust pizza, but I've actually been wanting to make a chicken crust pizza. But every time I go to the store, I forget to buy the ground chicken. And I froze those chicken breasts. Like, hello, dummy. I could have just ground one up for myself. What was I thinking? Or even just roasted it and then blended it up into little bits to make my crust. Oh, well. Let's see. Oh, and Airfry Nanny says skillet pizza sounds yummy after her post-coffee talk nap. A little over 4 hours till she has to work. Oh, my goodness. Well, we'll be out of here in the not too far future. And then Carrie says before he was carnivore, he had some of the deep dish pizza in Chicago, and it was so good. Oh, yeah. I'll just tell you, it's the cheese. It's so much cheese. Oh, and Attila says, what's the proper etiquette? Spoon or chopsticks, or does it matter? I don't think it matters. This is not technically not an Asian dish, even though it has some Asian flavors mixed in. I'm using a spoon because I felt like it. If I had chopsticks, I could use chopsticks, but I wanted a spoon. A spoon was better because of all the little egg and bacon bits. It's just easier. Mm. All right, so I have one more really dumb thing to share with you guys. Air Fry Nancy says, regardless of, for her, proper technique is the utensil that gets the food to her mouth. Agreed. So, you guys, I got a credit on TikTok, or I don't know what they call it. I can't remember what they called it, but I had money to blow that was specifically TikTok money. And so I bought the dumbest thing because also right now they're more expensive, but I just hit the window where these were under $5. They were like only $3. I can't wait to show you. This is so dumb. It's a self-stirring mug because have you ever just felt really put out by having to stir your beverages? But okay, I digress. So let's make my gamer subs. I know, I could have just kept the water, right? So what this has, I'll show you the parts. So here's the little spinner. It just looks like a little capsule pill, but it's a magnet. And in the cup, it's magnetized down at the bottom. So you just drop it and it goes right where it belongs. So I'll show you. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just saying it was worth it. I bought 2 of them because, you know, like, what else am I going to waste money on when it's not my own money other than some dumb crap that was hilarious. So I only put a little bit in because I worry, like, when I use my frother and it makes stuff go, but I don't think this does that as much. So Gamer Sups, for those of you who don't know, this one is the caffeine-free version of a flavor called snake oil. Gamer Sups is a nootropic, and so it has, and it's also, let's see, it has vitamin C, vitamin D3, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and vitamin H, which is biotin. And then it has their proprietary nootropic blend mixed in as well, which has L-theanine, tyrosine, CoQ10, acacia berry extract, mangosteen extract, you know, a couple other ingredients. Nothing that's bad, and a sweetener. Which what is the sweetener in this one? Oh, it's erythritol. So this one has erythritol, malic acid, citric acid, natural and artificial flavor, sucralose, caramel color, ascorbate K, silica, beta carotene. So for some keto people, these won't be good, but for me, they're just fine. I'm not overly fussed about it. But this flavor, snake oil, not only does it smell amazing, but it tastes like you're drinking apple pie a la mode. So let me push my button, mix it up. I'm just going to add more water until it gets to the top. I know, right? Like, oh, come on. You know it's dumb, but it's like so ridiculously silly. So there we go. And I'll tell you that if you watch TikTok at all, these are like all the ads about, like, what are the ads on there? Self-stirring mugs. They've got a cheap garbage stick vacuum, and and Scrub Daddy stuff. Scrub Daddy stuff, which is also good. But yeah, so there we go. And it did all right. I used it to make a bullet coffee, or well, a butter coffee, and it did just fine with that. I have not tried an egg. I don't think it's strong enough to deal with an egg. But like, I know. It's just like ridiculously dumb stuff, but it made me ridiculously happy to buy something so stupid. Air Fry 90 says they're $8.67 on Walmart.com for the cool mug. Oh, Keto Simple has been influenced. He wants a blend jet so bad. Yeah, honestly, and now I just realized something. I have to think about the keto chow I'm taking to this convention because we only have one bullet blender, and other people need to use the blender for the core. I don't want to take my whole Vitamix. That would be insane. So I need to look through and see what I want to take and I have to be able to use the shaker bottle for it. I don't find that the cores mix well enough by my hand shaking of the blender bottles. So I had to think about that. I did see now that blend jet came out with a larger size. The small size was the initial thing that really turned me off of buying the blend jet, the small size. So once they came out with the bigger size, then I just never got around to it because I have a bullet blender and I have a Vitamix. How many blenders do I really need? As it turns out, I might need a blend jet. So, and Keto Simple says, yeah, the blend jet would be great for keto chow and travel. Pardon me, friends. That was a big bite. Keto Simple says he has a Ninja blender. Sherry has the blend jet with a 32-ounce container. Do you love it? Or do you have regrets? It's so hard to tell when stuff is actually awesome or if it's just really good marketing. And Keto Simple says, but he does not have a bullet blender or Vitamix. I'll just tell you, if this NutriBullet blender of mine ever dies, I will not hesitate to buy another one. It is spectacular. And yeah. So, I mean, it's great. And I've had it for a super long time now. So it hasn't died. I mean, it's hanging in there. It's tough as all get out. So I wouldn't hesitate to buy another one. Let's see. Oh, and Sherry says, yes, it's much easier to make keto chow. Well, I mean, that's pretty much selling me on it. I might have to look and see if I can get one and have it here before, well, on Wednesday, now that you mention it. Or maybe I just like deal with it and take some, I think I have got blueberry in the regular version and maybe a couple chocolate toffee. I don't know. And I definitely have soups. So, you know, honestly, how much do I really need? It's only 4 days. I have plenty, you know what, honestly, maybe I just need to not worry about keto chow at all, even though I love it and find it very handy, and just worry about the rest of my stuff, which can fit in a little fridge, and then not worry about it. Oh, of course, Keto Simple says Costco has the 2-pack of normal size blend jets for like $75, but they don't have them now. Oh. Had. Of course. Well, I don't want the normal size one though. It was too small. Like a zero interest. Hey, Gigi's here. Good evening. So let me see. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. So my dumb little self-stirring mug, which is hilariously amusing, and I expect to be amused by at least 2 more weeks before it goes to the counter of regrettable purchases. Let's see. And Mama Almarian says she likes her keto chow hot, so she just uses her frother. Even with my really good Keto Brains frother, I don't know that it's been strong enough for me. But yeah, I do like warm keto chows. I might think about it. Hey, Ron's Keto Cafe. Hello, good evening. So I just want to tell you guys, man, this stir fry is really good. I hit a home run with it, and also I dropped a Caulirice. Oh, and Keto Simple also likes warm keto chows. Sherry says she has a regular size Ninja blender, And it was also her first big purchase when she started at Kohl's 35 years ago. What a great investment, though. Man, a good blender is worth every penny. I know that they're expensive and they're hard to justify, but they are worth their weight in gold because they are a real servicey beast. Oh, and Carrie says you have to watch out when blending in the water in the Ninja blender. Let's see. Oh, and Keto Simple says he got his Ninja blender at Costco for like 45 bucks. Nice. And Carrie says his last warm keto chow was an apple pie keto chow. Yeah, that sounds so good. I completely lost my mind. I'm like spinning. So the other thing I had to do today was start cutting my leather into strips. You guys, Tandy Leather had like a big leather sale, so they don't have the leather I need. I did manage to get one double shoulder, and it's so inadequate for what I need to do for my big projects. But I did manage today to get that double shoulder and cut it into strips, and then I got one of them cut up into triangles. So that's like the start. I need like 4 more of those double shoulders, or like 3 more whole hides, so I can get everything prepared for June. But I have to say, I'm really excited. So there's that. The other thing we got to get working on is we have to make flamethrowers, fake flamethrowers, not real ones, for our cosplay coming up in a few weeks. Well, I guess it's like 6 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks for a sci-fi convention we're going, where our cosplay guild is doing Alien, and I've got my Ripley jumpsuit, so that's ready to go. But I just definitely need to get a move on because getting all of the EVA foam carved and shaped and made into a realistic looking alien authentic flamethrower is going to be quite a bit of effort. Oh, Sharon's got her order finished and packed. Oh, time for a break for sure. Congratulations, because I know the orders are a lot of work. Airfryer Nanny says she does not need a self-stirring mug. Do not need a self-stirring mug. I do not. Yeah, I know. But actually, I promise you, you actually do not need a self-stirring mug. Like I said, I got a TikTok reward that let me buy this. I would not pay real money for it. Don't do it. It is hilarious, but it's not worth paying real money for. Sherry says to Airfryer Nanny that you do need a self-stirring mug. Oh, and Sharon says she's thinking that tomorrow she'll just be mowing the lawns and then getting a pedicure. That sounds great too. Yeah, we probably should mow the lawn, but I mean, honestly, And Airfryer Nanny says, well, it's not in the cart yet. Still looking. That's good. Like I said, it's silly fun, but it's not something that I would run out and say, like, you got to get this. Keto Simple says the tyranny of stirring for himself has got to end. Or just get a milk frother. Okay, so we actually have 1, 2, let's see, I can see 2, 3, we actually have 4 frothers. So like, yeah, we definitely didn't need the self-stirring mug. But I will say, unfortunately, I can't reach it without a disaster because it's sitting on the counter right by the laptop over there, and I don't want to reach over. But the Keto Brains frother is like the best frother ever, and it was. I say that if you're going to buy a frother and you want one that has a good powerful power, that's the one to invest in. Keto Brains. Also, Keto Brains is darn good too. It's another nootropic supplement, but it's got a coconut flour base to it, So, and it's a coffee creamer. You could also put it in tea as well, or warm almond milk or coconut milk or whatever. But it's real nice, and it definitely, I can't say enough good things. I've said it before on here that the keto brains, I got it, and I was hoping, well, I had it in my head that it was going to be like me complaining because I like to complain about stuff. And I was going to be like, oh, yeah, this ripoff. And actually, it turned out to be like amazing and fantastic. So, what can I say? It's good. It's a good product with good ingredients, good nutrition profile. It's good all around. So, I can't say one bad thing about keto brains. So be it. Oh, and Keto Simple says the new and packaged one is from the last trip made to Jungle Gyms. Is a milk frother that, oh, it's a new milk frother. It bent and hardly worked. Wow, that sucks. For whatever reason, those messages came out of order into StreamYard. It makes more sense to read it the other way. You have a new one out of the package that's already bent and hardly works. The new and packaged ones from the trip that we made to Jungle Gyms. You should let us know what brand that is so we don't buy one. And Marion says she uses Keto Brains every morning. Our friend Auntie also loves Keto Brains and appreciated being able to keep her current price for a subscription when they had to raise their prices. Yeah, mine's still the same too. I understand needing to raise because it is there have been price hikes in some of the ingredients they use. All right, so the other thing to tell you about before I sign off, I announced it on my Facebook, but the new convention is ready to be talked about in public. We're calling ourselves Sakai Con. It's the organization is the Sakai Guild. We're going to have mini events throughout 2024 with the tentative plan for a full-blown convention in 2025. It's anime, not a keto con, so keep that in mind. And I'll be resuming tabletop duties there at the full-blown con and helping out along the way however I can. So it's real. It's a nonprofit organization recognized in the state of Ohio, and all the paperwork is filed federal. Everything was done by a lawyer that cost too much money, but it was necessary to do. So all I'm saying is I can hardly wait. The first event we're going to have is going to be on April 20th, and I'm not ready to talk about the details yet. That's going to be, this is like your teaser announcement. We're still putting a couple of loose ends together, but then I'll tell you guys about it. And I am so excited because, we've been sitting on a lot of information for quite some time, and it's just been all under wraps. So it's super nice to get out there. The only thing that we have is that now people are like, oh, but I see OhioCon died. Is this just a rebranding? And we're like, no. The people who are part of that, we still disavow them and their horrible actions and treatment of people. So, yeah. Yes. So we're zero affiliation from previously bad management at other convention. So I'm excited. It's going to be awesome. I just can hardly wait. I'm ready for 2025. I jokingly say, knowing that I have like 8 conventions this year, of which I've got varying degrees of responsibility. So that's the big news. New convention. And with that, I think we can say goodnight and everybody can enjoy, and Air Fried Auntie can have a nap before work. You guys can be jealous of my super delicious caulirice fry bowl. And I will talk to you all later this week. Maybe I'll do a little live on Thursday, somehow, like after I get into my room. Keep an eye out for that. Let's do it. All right, you guys have a great evening, and I will see you later. Bye bye.